TGCRequiem, we're back with Modern Dredge. Looks like we are on the draw. I think this is a keepable hand. Ideally we would have a turn 1 discard outlet, but as it is... Okay, so looks like we're... Nope, never mind. I was about to say, looks like we have like some mono white. If I extra cards put in a graveyard from battlefield, you may search your library for a plains card and put it onto the battlefield tapped. If you do, shuffle your library. So I'm almost certain our opponent is playing a black-white Pox deck, or maybe a Mardu Pox deck. I feel like I've played against this deck once in the past. Pretty sure they're leading on flags. They would then be doing Smallpox, but they'd have to have like an Urborg to be able to crack that. So my question here, what my thought is, or my concern is, do I play a land and get it blown up, or do I just discard Stinkweed Imp? I think I'm just going to discard Stinkweed Imp. This is like some next level magic right here. We hit another Stinkweed Imp, so we're looking pretty good here. If we get a chance to Cathartic Reunion next turn, we could have a pretty good turn. We can pitch Bloodghast and Amalgam and draw Stinkweed. I guess we'll see what our opponent does on their turn. Here comes Smallpox. I'm so good. Called it. There. Loses 1 life. Discards a card. Sacrifices a creature. It looks like we're still going to be okay to some extent here. They're going to activate their myth. And we're definitely not blocking. We'll just take the 2 here. I think our recursion's a little better. So we'll pitch Bloodghast and Stinkweed Imp. Actually, I'm not going to do anything with the Stinkweed Imp because we are going to hope to draw a land. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Although, actually, we can't do that until we get our second mana source. So we gotta just hope they don't hit a second Pox here. Wandering Souls I think we can deal with. And then we're definitely going to hit the Life from the Loam last here versus the Stinkweed Imp. And that way we can get land next turn to cast the Dark Blast on these spirit tokens. I believe we have, so I have a Conflagrate, so we're going to be able to Cathartic Reunion out. So we can chump with these Narcomoebas on the bigger Myth Realized if we need to. The question here is whether we need to Life from the Loam or Cathartic Reunion here. I think we might want to Life from Loam this turn and then Cathartic the following turn. That way we can kind of set up the ability to Conflagrate the turn that we Cathartic. We're probably going to need to Conflagrate our opponent out of this game. I suppose, do we want to dredge Dark Blast here? What lands do we have access to? We do have access to a Blood Crypt, so we could kill one of the spirits. Could also just Stinkweed to try and max value. I think we're just going to Dark Blast here. Still set up pretty excellently. I think we're going to grab a Blood Crypt, Gemstone Mine, and Foothills. And then we will play Gemstone Mine. So this will trigger Blood Gas, which is going to trigger this Prized Amalgam on end step. I'm going to Dark Blast here. I think we'll just swing in with the two Narcomoebas, leave the Prized Amalgams back as blockers. And then we'll plan to Cathartic Reunion away a Stinkweed Imp and a Conflagrate. And Dark Blast really doesn't do anything else for us at this point. Oh, getting that Collective Brutality is going to be huge, huge. That Collective Brutality taking our Cathartic Reunion, rather. I mean, we still can cast Faithless Looting from the graveyard, so it's not like it's a complete loss, but our opponent still is at a risk. We could just dredge into Conflagrate if they attack. Yeah, so they're still in a position where they have to sit back. And we just dredge Life from the Loam. Yep, there's a Conflagrate. So if they can block one of these, they're going to take 6, 7, 8, and then we can Conflagrate for the rest. So that puts our opponent down to 4, and then we fire away. And we'll just pitch another Conflagrate, Stinkweed, Bloodghast, probably Life from the Loam. Awesome. So game 1, we get the win. It's been a while since I played against this deck. I'm sure it's tough to do well against everything, but it's still cool to see people working on decks that they kind of like pet decks, if you will. Alright, so we gotta assume our opponent is probably playing Rest in Peace because they're white. We could look at Collective Brutality. It's possible we need to do Ancient Grudge instead, but we'll see. Abrupt Decay is also better against their lords, whatever you want to call them. I think we probably want to bring in Thoughtseize too. I think based on what we saw, we can probably cut a Conflagrate. I do believe one Collective Brutality is fine. I'm okay with that. I think we can cut Dark Blast. They didn't have, actually we could probably cut 2 Dark Blasts. All they had were a handful of Lingering Souls tokens, and then the opponent's not really aggressive, so Insolent Neonate's not the problem. Bloodghast is not the problem. I think we could probably cut a deck more. Does hurt us on our black mana a little bit. Insolent Neonate's really often just remove for removal. So this is actually a good hand. We have something to fight Rest in Peace. We have 3 lands, which is pretty good in this matchup, or pretty important. And we can Faithless Looting a Dredger right away. I think this is a clear keep. Bloodghast, okay. So I think we just fire off the Faithless Looting right away here. And then we're going to discard Stinkweed. And I kind of want to discard Bloodghast, but I'm a little worried that if they run out Rest in Peace this next turn, that we're going to get hit too hard from that. So I think I'm just going to play Narcomoeba instead. We just don't have anything else really going on otherwise. If they run out Rest in Peace, we can just Abrupt Decay it on the end of their next turn. Gideon of the Trials, interesting. Another Gideon of the Trials deck. Fortunately, Rest in Peace is still more important than Gideon here. Maybe that was a little bit of a mistake. We could have discarded Bloodghast there. Guess we can still just hard cast Bloodghast. Probably just gonna pitch Narcomoeba and Dark Blast here. Play Bloodghast. Suppose we could have played Neonate. We could have pitched Bloodghast. Well, yeah. I mean, we didn't know what we were going to have. One thing we can hope for is if we dredge the Dark Blast back and the opponent activates Myth Realized, we could potentially use Dark Blast to reduce the Myth Realized in damage. If he tries to block, if the opponent tries to block us going after the Gideon. Then we could play a land. Yeah, well, that's not going to happen. Yeah, that Gideon seems alright. Prevent all damage that would be dealt by this permanent. So we're going to have to dredge pretty hard pretty fast then is really what it comes down to. Fortunately, Bloodghast cannot block. At least we have Faithless Looting out here. Maybe we can find a couple more dredgers. So now they may feel like they need to keep Myth Realized back, unless they've got some removal. Gideon can handle one of the Bloodghast, but they don't probably want Gideon to keep getting chip damage. So they may just hold Myth Realized back to block versus being aggressive, or they may just uptick Gideon and fire away with both of them. Either way, on our side, we're probably looking at dredging and then flashing back Faithless Looting. Yep, so they're just going to fire away. Probably not attacking with Myth Realized, I would think then. Leaving Myth Realized back to block, or nope, they're going for it. They can actually pump Myth Realized again for 3 mana, so they may do that just to get 7 damage or 8 damage in. And I can't imagine that they were, no, so they're going to uptick with Gideon, so we're only going to get 2 damage on the Gideon. Right. Oh wait, Myth Realized is like just a super fun card. I was super excited, tried to build with it a bunch when it first came out. So now, oh no, they can't uptick Gideon now. What am I thinking? Alright, so we can't quite conflagrate to kill Gideon. We can actually conflagrate Gideon down to 2 and then attack with Bloodghast down to 2. So I think that's what we have to do here. The risk is if they're holding on to another piece of removal, I guess it doesn't matter. If they're holding on to another piece of removal, we're not getting Gideon and we're pretty much dead. I mean, we are dead. So yeah, so if there's no other route here, what we're going to do is conflagrate for 2. Discarding Archimedes and Dark Blast. We're going to redirect that to Gideon. Go to combat. This way, if they kill Bloodghast, we can get both Bloodghast back. Then we can play a land, get Bloodghast back. Fortunately, yes, we need to do it now. And then if we can get really lucky on this Faithless Looting, might be able to claw our way back into this one. We only have Dark Blast that we can dredge. Opponent's going to put us on a 2-turn clock. We got to get a blocker down. And unfortunately, because Conflagrate is sorcery speed, I mean, even if we had cards to throw away, we can't do anything to it. So we basically have to hit an Archamoeba off the Dark Blast Dredge. I think they're just going to go ahead and pump their Myth Realized here. You know, if they have a Collective Brutality, that could also just be... that could just be game. I don't think there's anything we got going on here, right? So we could kill our own Bloodghast. But yeah, we're just drawing dead here. So we'll concede, get on to game 3. So we'll be on the play. It's possible we want Collective Brutality. I think through the spells they played. I mean, we still can't get... No, I think what we did with Thoughtseize and whatnot worked. On the play, we just are going to hope to be a little more explosive and get out ahead of them, and that's that. This is not going to do. Oh, this is also not good. Faithless Looting, perfect. So one nice thing about Dredge is it is fairly good mulliganing. Hopefully hit some more dredgers, that's really what we're looking for. Did not. I think we're actually going to cast this off Copperline. This way if we pull a Thoughtseize we can rip that from their hand. And then we just pray here. I guess we already played a land for turn. Fingers crossed. If we can get the Stinkweed draw here, if we get a Rest in Peace, we're probably going to lose this game based on what we've got going on. But if they don't have a Rest in Peace, then we have a game. Yep. So I hate to say that that is the game, but that is probably going to be the game here. Don't know that I could have played that a whole lot safer. Suppose we can kind of hope our opponent doesn't have any Path to Exiles. Stinkweed's an excellent blocker. Could draw us back out of this. Not really. While the Rest in Peace is down, the Stinkweed doesn't do anything. Yeah, that Liliana is going to be real problematic. I guess if we draw a Abrupt Decay, which did we hit one in the graveyard already? So we have one, like a one-outer here.
You know, we might be able to get lucky and get a Dredge online before Liliana gets going too strong. So that's brutal. So we can't even cast Cathartic Reunion. We're never going to be able to cast Cathartic Reunion because at this point Liliana's going to start upticking, so we're just going to play our Gemstone 9. And it looks like we're going to get pegged here in the last 2 rounds of this league. Fortunately, after a strong 3-0 start and winning the first game of the last 2 matches, we're gonna end up falling here. Still pretty happy to go 3-2, and honestly we're gonna be 3-2 with like a 8-5 record, which is pretty alright. If we can get a prized amalgam, maybe we'll get lucky since we have the Gemstone 9 and they'll just downtick their Lily. I have to imagine they'll just uptick at least once and let the Spirit block, killing off the Bloodghast, instead of downticking with Liliana here. Which unfortunately means, again, that we're done, if we didn't know already somehow. The positive side of all this is I get to go to bed. It's a bit later than I would like to be up. Oh hey, they probably just have another Liliana and they're like, okay, we'll drop Liliana number 2. I'm trying to think of the sequence that we would need. We basically would need Abrupt Decay followed by like a Faithless Looting, hitting 2 Dredgers, and then like another Faithless Looting maybe. We've already lost a prized amalgam, Bloodghast, 2 Stinkweed Imps. I should just go to bed, but I'm staying through the end of this for you because you voted for Dredge, and so I am playing it. Oh, sweet. Not every day you get to hardcast an amalgam out of this deck. That should hopefully shut Shambling Vent down a little bit here. Still can't handle the Spirit. Probably gonna get Smallpox now. Oh no, just there's the other Liliana. We knew they had it. Yeah, man, I don't know what to say here. Just we're getting whooped and so my thoughts on Dredge are the deck, it's pretty grindy. Bloodghast, unfortunately not the greatest blocker, so aggressive decks can do alright against it. There you go, Thoughtseize to speed up our loss. If the aggressive decks have some reach, maybe. I don't know. It's interesting because this deck, I don't know that it's less Dredge. Some decks run the Golgari Thug, which is I think like Dredge 4. I guess I'm not really certain which slots they take over, but I really do like the Conflagrate combo with Life from the Loam. It's pretty sick. I don't know though, like it can get wide, it's just it struggles some to block because of Amalgam coming in tapped out of the graveyard, Bloodghast not being able to block. You know, you only really get like the Narcomoebas and a couple of the alright, that's game. Alright, on the left hand side, either way, Dredge is fun to play. It's not fun when you get run into with a Rest in Peace. I could totally see just throwing 4 Abrupt Decays in the deck to make sure that you have every answer possible to the Rest in Peace. I'm not sure exactly what you would take out for it, but it might need it. So left hand side you can watch some more of my videos, subscribe in the center, and on the right hand side there's a link to the playlist. Hopefully you enjoyed. Have a good one.